Welcome to FF Jack Gaming, and if this is your first time around, welcome. Today our deck tech is going to be featured in the Magic the Gathering realm, specifically the format of Modern. So without further ado, let's jump over to the deck. Today's deck is called Finale Company, because what we're going to end up doing is comboing with a bunch of elves, either digging it up with Collected Company or Finale of Devastation with another nice little combo that's in there to allow us to go infinite to make them huge. This deck does not have Cradlehoof Behemoth in there, which is normally seen with them. So with the general deck description out of the way, let's dive in. So we got 33 creatures altogether, 4 of which are Heritage Druid. It's a 1 mana, and it lets us tap 3 untapped elves that we control to add 3 mana to our mana pool. It's a little 1/1, so it lets us end up tapping our elves. And something that's really nice about it is that they don't have to worry about summoning sickness. We could just end up activating their ability. The next 4 is going to be Nettle Sentinel, costs 1 green. And Nettle Sentinel doesn't untap during our untap step. But whenever we cast a green spell, you may untap Nettle Sentinel. It's a 2/2. So they work out really, really good with Heritage Druids. Let's say that we have 2 of those guys out, and then we play another one. But we have this all tapped out. Boop. And as long as we have a green spell, they'll keep untapping. The next 4 of is Llanowar Elves, which is a 1 mana that allows us to tap for 1 mana. Rounding out our 1-drops is Elvish Mystic. Another Llanowar Elves, just give us a few other copies, meaning that they cost 1 green and they tap for a green. So with the 1-drops out of the way, let's move up to the 2s. Coming out of the door is Dwynen's Elite. It's a 2/2. Dwynen's Elite's ability is when Dwynen's Elite enters the battlefield, if you control another elf, you put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token onto the battlefield. Meaning that if we have, just for the sakes, if we have an Elvish Mystic, we play Dwynen's Elite, we get another warrior. However, a better situation for us is we have Heritage Druid out there, and then we play Dwynen's Elite, brings out another guy, lets us tap for 3 mana, and then it lets us keep on playing more stuff. The next 2-drop is a 3 of Elvish Visionary. It's a 1 green and 1, and when Elvish Visionary enters the battlefield, draw a card. We have a 3 of Devoted Druid, who costs us 1 green and 1, tap for 1 green mana. But here's the kicker: put a neg1 counter on Devoted Druid, untap Devoted Druid, letting us to boop, put a counter on him, untap. That works out nicely with our Vizer of Remedies, who is a 2-drop, a 1 white and 1. It's a human, so I know it's a little bit off our flavor, but if we put 1 or more neg1 counters on a creature we control, that many counters minus that to be put on there instead. So that means that we could go infinite combo with Devoted Druid and Vizier of Remedies out there. Because when we tap it, to untap it, we go put the counter on there, but Vizier says, no, that can't end up having that counter, but we can keep on activating that ability to allow us to have a huge finale. To keep on the creature train, we're moving up to our 3-drops, which we have 4 Elvish Archdruids. Wouldn't it be an elf deck with an elf lord? Plus, with the Archdruid, we also have tap, gain 1 green mana for each elf that we control. Another spot that we could dump a bunch of mana into is our 3 copies of Ezuri, the Renegade Leader. He has tap 1 green to regenerate target another elf. And then he also, here's the big kicker that we want to be dumping into. Costs us 2 and 3 green. Elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn to run right over everyone's face. And then we have 1 spicy drop of Shaman of the Pack. It's a 1 colorless, a black, and a green. When a Shaman of the Pack enters the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to the number of elves you control. So let's say we have a situation where we have 3 different elves out there, and then we play Shaman of the Pack. At that time, they're going to end up losing 4 life because it also comes to the Shaman. It's another good way of finishing the game out. So next, since we covered the creatures, we're going to jump over to the instants. Coming in with 4 different copies is Collected Company, which costs us 4 mana. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 creatures with a converted mana cost of 3 or less from them onto the battlefield. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. It allows us to dig any deeper for either like parts of the combo or even more elves. Coming at a Lonesome 1 is Chord of Calling. Green, 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 so 3 green and X. Convoke, which is what we end up tapping one of our untapped creatures, and it would pay for 1 mana of that. Search your library for a creature card with a converted mana cost of X or less, and put that onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. So, we already saw the Collected Company, so that's part of the namesake. We're going to be jumping over to the other part, which is 4 of the sorceries, which is Finale of Devastation. It's a green and costs us X. So you wanted a spot to be able to dump all that mana into to make your creatures use? This is it. It also allows us to search your library or graveyard for a creature card with a converted mana cost of X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is greater than 10 or more, then your creatures get +X/+X and gain haste until end of turn. So that'll allow us to end up making huge monstrous elves out of the deal. So with the spells, creatures, and everything that we got going on there, we got to have a way to be able to play that. So let's tap into our lands and come over with the play. We have 18 lands altogether, one of which is Temple Garden, a green-white land that could come into play untapped if we pay 2 life. The same for the Godless Shrine, except for that taps for a black and a white. Overgrown Tomb, which taps for a black and a green. 4 Windswept Heaths, allowing us to fetch any of the mana that we ended up wanting to get. A Misty Rainforest. Again, pay 1 life to be able to sacrifice it and look for any kind of a forest or island, but in this case it would be a forest. 1 Plains. And then we're going to run into 9 different forests. So that covers our main board of the deck. Let's jump over to the sideboard. Just in case we have any kind of troubles, we can end up coming over to it with a clutch. So we have 3 Path to Exiles. The art on these are fantastic. They end up having... And then our packages has a bunch of, like, since we're like a toolbox-like deck, we have a whole bunch of other silver bullets or other ways to be able to win. We added 2 more Shaman of the Pack to come in on the main board when we just need to get over there. If we're going up against Infect, we have Melira. She costs 1 green and 1 legendary Human Scout, and you can't get poison counters. Creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters put on them. And creatures your opponents control lose Infect. And then tally. We have 2 copies of Aven Mindcensor, which is 1 white and 2. It's able to be flashed in, and then it also has it where instead of being able to search your library, you have to look at the top 3 cards. So if they go crack that fetch land, they won't be able to dig for that land that they're looking for. They have to look in the top 3 and hope and pray that they end up getting that. We have 1 copy of Elvish Champion, which is 2 green and 1. All elves get +1/+1 and have Forest Walk. If we can't get there with any kind of damage, we can end up sneaking there with a Forest Walk if they have a forest. So against those artifact decks, we have Kataki's War's Wage. It's 1 white and 1. All artifacts have, at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this artifact unless you pay 1. So if we can end up making them have to pay the 1 mana for it, it makes it show that they can't end up having something to play. Against some decks that's like Pyroclasm or anything that ends up actually burning out our creatures, we have 2 copies of Selfless Spirit, which is 1 white and 1. It's a Spirit Cleric, flying, and sacrifice Selfless Spirit. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. And our last cards are Choke. Islands don't untap during their controller's untap phase. But that covers our deck of Finale Company. What'd you think? Any kind of suggestions? What would you do differently? Put your comments down below. If you like the content that we're putting out, or if you want to see future deck techs or future items that we have in the deck, make sure you hit that bell to get a little notification about our future content. Like, subscribe. Until next time, see you later.